All right, Death on the Nile. I'm excited to talk about this movie because I was not a fan of Murder on the Orient Express at all. But when I saw the trailers for Death on the Nile, I was like, you know what, this actually looks really cool. And I went and saw it in the theaters, and boy, I had a really fun time with this movie. Let's talk about it. One of my favorite parts about watching movies like these are just like watching the great cast that they have. I mean, this movie has a big cast and it's got a great cast. If you go on IMDb and just look at some of the names in this movie, I mean, it's amazing. You got like Armie Hammer, Gal Gadot, Emma Mackey, who I'll get to her in a second. I thought she was a standout star to me. You have Russell Brand, Letitia Wright. Everybody does a really great job in this movie, including Gal Gadot, because I know Gal Gadot gets kind of a bad rap sometimes because she's not necessarily the best actress, which, I mean, I get she has some limitations, but she's fine in this movie. Now, I want to talk about Emma Mackey a little bit here. She plays a character called Jacqueline in the movie, and I kept thinking I had seen her from somewhere, but I've never actually seen her in anything before. I went and looked her up on IMDb. I was like, I haven't seen any of the stuff that she's in other than Death on the Nile here. She was the standout for me. I think she was absolutely incredible in this movie. I'm looking forward to seeing everything that she does in the future as well because she was just really, really great. And Kenneth Branagh is also really great as Detective Poirot. So why am I so high on this movie? One of the things I didn't like about Murder on the Orient Express was the fact that it felt very rushed. Like all of a sudden they got on the train in the movie and then a murder happened and then it just... I was never really captivated with that movie, and I feel like a lot of other people with their complaints was kind of the same thing. We didn't really get to know a lot of characters very well. This movie clocks in at 2 hours and 7 minutes long. I think it's about an hour and 58 minutes before the credits start to roll. And the first murder doesn't happen until about an hour into the movie. Now, that's not a bad thing, right? This movie does have a slow burn feel, but it's not boring, right? It's very, well, it's like that type of slow burn where you know something is about to happen and you're just waiting for it, but you're like getting excited. It's one of those things. But I like the fact that this movie took its time because with this movie taking its time, we get to know our characters, we get to know people's motivations. So when stuff starts to hit the fan in the movie, we are better able as an audience to sit there and kind of be able to guess or kind of figure stuff out in our brain of why somebody would want to do something. And that's what I liked about this movie is it took its time, and that's something that Murder on the Orient Express just didn't do. And Kenneth Branagh did a great job directing in this movie. I've always liked Kenneth Branagh as a director, but the way this movie is filmed, I mean, we have to talk about the setting as well. It takes place on the Nile River over there off of Egypt, and it's used very well. I mean, shots of alligators and stuff in the water and a few other things, using animals in it as it's surrounding and the pyramids and everything. I think the movie uses its setting to kind of encompass the story very, very well, and it's actually helped me better immerse myself in the movie. So Kenneth Branagh did a really good job at that. And I honestly have nothing negative to say about this movie. If I had to really nitpick anything, there were a few lines that I missed, just because it seemed like when the characters were talking, the audio was just kind of low. They kind of could have maybe raised that a little bit. I saw this movie in 70 millimeter. AMC is doing that with some of their theaters, so if you live next to an AMC that is showing this movie in 70 millimeter, I definitely recommend watching in that. It looked it looked really gorgeous. And this movie, it kept me guessing. I really had I thought I knew. I was like, it's going to be that person. I thought I had it, and I love when movies really, I mean, the last Scream movie did that to me. I thought I knew who the killer was in the Scream movie, and all of a sudden it flew like a U-turn on me, and I was like, oh god. So this movie is going to keep you guessing. It's going to keep you entertained. If you weren't a fan of Murder on the Orient Express, if you had any gripes with that movie, I feel like this movie is going to basically fix all your gripes. I know it did with me. Because listen, I did not like Murder on the Orient Express. I wasn't one of those people that thought it was okay. I honestly just downright did not like that movie. But Death on the Nile is a fantastic movie. I definitely recommend going and seeing the movie. I promise you will not be disappointed.